All parties commit to peaceful election in Anambra State. Inter- and intra-party politics hots up with stories of a sack of a factional chairman and the case of revolving doors in another party exco. Youth conference throws up questions on youth's participation in nation building and commitment to the Nigerian project. Also on political update, continuous voter registration exercise to resume within days, just as the umpire is worried that the court and not the ballot determines a lot of elections. All these and more on the program today. I am Fisayo Ogunfui. Welcome. The Independent National Electoral Commission says preparations have been concluded in more than 2,600 registration centers nationwide for the commencement of the continuous voter registration exercise on the 28th of June.
The National Information even has a keyboard.
2,673 of this device will be a common sight from June 28 in 2,673 registration centers with 5,300 staff. First online pre-registration window period of 14 days to complete, and those that don't have access to internet, manual process is also an alternative.
We intend to undertake the CVR exercise over a period of at least 1 year. There will be new registrants, requests for intrastate and interstate transfers, as well as the replacement of cards as provided by law.
Nigeria is the only country we have. At all times, the present crop of media professionals, I can assure you, will be available to give you the necessary support.
20 million new voters is what INEC is targeting, while the registration will end August 2022.
Meanwhile, a faction of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, led by Judo Keke, has expressed fears that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, may exclude the party from the Anambra State governorship election slated for the 6th of November this year.
The Judo Keke-led group of ABGA is accusing the Victor Oye-led faction of the party of alleged refusal to submit the statutory 21 days notice on the Special World Congress to the Independent National Electoral Commission. The factional publicity secretary explains that INEC, via 2 separate letters to the party, communicated the non-receipt of ABGA's 21 days notification on the matter.
This is to notify you that the records of the commission indicates that ABGA did not duly notify the Commission of the date of the Congress where the ad hoc delegates were elected as required by Section 85 of the Electoral Act 2010 as amended.
Ikechukwu alleged that the 2 letters by INEC have therefore rendered ABGA's governorship primary being proposed for Wednesday, June 23 as an exercise in futility because the use of invalid delegates list will exclude the party from the election. He adds that although the Oye faction had missed the issuance of statutory notice, all hope is not lost if the party members come together as one united family to resolve the issue.
Now, President Muhammadu Buhari wants Nigerian youths to engage in activities and interventions that will prepare them for leadership in the quest to contribute meaningfully to nation building. At the maiden All Progressives Youth Conference held in Abuja, the president urged them to aspire for a better future by being worthy ambassadors of a united Nigeria.
As the flags fly high outside of the International Conference Center, so is the ambition and expectations of the APC youth. The Governor Maimala Buni-led Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee is behind this platform to engage the youth with party leadership and stakeholders in its quest to develop a blueprint for youth development and engagement in Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari, represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, said the main purpose of forming APC is to breed progressive youth that will secure the country, and described this gesture as a timely rebuilding process of the APC.
This conference is therefore very timely, coming up not too long after our party membership registration exercise and just before the commencement of congresses starting from our wards. So I'm quite confident that our deliberations today will have a notable impact on the party's activities and even trickle down to my administration.
The conference agreed that the time is now for a youth revolution politically, but with a guiding principle to identify those that will uphold the democratic ethos of the Buhari administration in fighting corruption, boosting the economy, and tackling insecurity beyond 2023.
I also want to assure you that the committee is making great efforts to approach the proposed congresses and convention with support, trust, and confidence of all members.
The party has transformed itself under the leadership of the National Caretaker Committee Chairman, but more importantly, the votes are with young people.
The next generation of leaders must try to eradicate massive corruption in the public sector. And I want to say that Nigeria is moving in the right direction.
It is therefore my sincere hope that these aims and objectives are achieved and implemented accordingly for the benefit of our party.
If in our own time and generation we have failed, may you never fail in your generation.
It is the first conference of the APC youth since the formation of the party 8 years ago. And like the theme, the future is a decision, the youth have launched the Progressive Youth Councils as strategy to decide for the future.
All right, we'll be getting a member of that, but we'll put everything together. APC youths, perhaps in the course of the week, we're also expecting them to be on the program as well, just to give an insight to what Nigerian youths and, of course, APC youths are looking forward to beyond 2023, as you saw in that report. Now, it is a case of revolving doors in the Cross River State chapter of the PDP after losing incumbent governor Ben Ayade to the APC. It welcomed back former Governor Donald Duke to the fold.
Also ascended by former Senate President Bukola Saraki, among other party stalwarts, past and present governors in the country, was a time to declare the party's determination to take over the reins of power in Cross River State.
And so we have come on simple assignment to declare the new office, the new edifice of PDP in Calabar open. Spoken.
Cross River State is PDP, PDP is Cross River State, and that is where we are. PDP!
In a joyous mood, party faithful received the former governor of the state, Donald Duke, who publicly declared his loyalty to the party.
No matter what differences you have in a family, when your house is threatened, you come back.
The party in the state also presented to supporters and party faithful the executive members of the caretaker committee, as well as chapter chairmen across the state.
Moving on now to our second conversation. We want to talk about youth involvement in the first conversation, but we'll go to the second conversation now. Ensuring development in challenging times, many believe, needs the buy-in of all stakeholders in the community, being resolute and committed in allowing the wheel of progress to roll forward in spite of daunting challenges. Nigeria has entered its 22nd year of uninterrupted democracy in the Fourth Republic, and it is a phase that has tasked the citizenry into more collective action against insecurity and outlawry of any guise. Joining us is Honorable Richard Bandi of Logo, Ukum, and Katsina Federal Constituency. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We had our conversation just before we did May 29 and June 12. Let me start by, looking at it from there. 22 years of uninterrupted democracy. How would you describe it? Are there giant strides that we have made, and where do we need to improve?
Thank you. First and foremost, I believe that we have done a lot for our own country. 22 years sojourn is not easy. Discovered that there are issues like general system of mobile communication that is not in focus in our own country. You can communicate with the outer world, and these are the things that I will say, yes, we are done. But yes, we have a lot of challenges in our own country. The unabated killings across the country is a major problem that called for all concerned. If we would say you just grab that, oh, it's well, then we're deceiving ourselves. And the killing is even across lines. Because if we go to the north, the south, the east, the west, all of that, killings going on. So we have to put our hands together, force a common, cohesive position to salvage the situation.
All right,
and what are the reasons for all these things? We have to first and foremost isolate and know the reasons. And it's not only our president that will be blamed, even to the level of the governors, because you see and know what is happening at the local government levels. You shed tears
I'm going to take it one after the other. We must get to especially the issue of local authorities owning their security structure. We had this conversation also with another representative or from another zone and the issues of perhaps devolving our security structure. But let's take it one after the other. In terms of contribution of the political elite to development of society, have you been able to bridge the gap? What we have seen in terms of agitations, in terms of some of the have come from the youth. Have we been able to reach out, especially in trying to find out exactly how their own contributions or their own impressions of what we're facing generally, and try to perhaps calm things down, especially first in your zone? Have you been able to make any effort to at least reach out?
Well, thank you. We have been doing so. We have been engaging our youths. We have been discussing with them. We have been doing our best to know what is their major problem. And most of them agree that the problem is that this major problem of unemployment that's beating and biting the society. And when we ask and inquire to know further, they say that local governments across the country have just been reduced to mere paying centers. In the olden days, you used to have several departments, like Department of Agriculture, where there will be a lot of activities. They will be working on their orchards, they will move around in poultry farm, and people will pay, and it will be very, very productive. If we move to the Department of Works, there will be a lot of work, even constructing local government bridges and roads across the local governments.
At that level?
At that level. When you discover that this level of joint account, we must be sincere. It's a major problem that we have to look at it, and we have been trying and doing our best so that we will actually give them autonomy, so that once it is opened up at that level, even the youth that could not even access the state and even at the federal level, they will have something doing. And also, we cannot do this thing without the security of life and property. The whole mark of government is to protect life and property. So in a situation whereby there's massive killing unabated across the country, it has also called for a concern. When people are blaming our president, some people think that it's personal. It's not personal. If you have a father and certain things are not going through, you don't have to cry.
Honorable,
it's not to say that he's the only person responsible.
You made your point even the last time we talked about this. And I'm not cutting you short, just, further. So we have spoken about, causes, root causes.
Yes.
And we're talking about even the issues of solutions. Now, in some climes, we found a situation where, we've had youth groups coming together, people coming to society, to, cities, towns, not cities, rural areas, for weeks, for months, and nobody reports these strange movements. We had on Friday, someone coming in from the education sector, and he was talking about the issues that even in some of the, areas where we've had some of, these violent crimes and some abductions, we've seen so many of these movements coming around, and even as citizens, we've not made effort to even, go through the chain of command at that level to even alert before we now start looking for solution. Do you agree?
Yeah. Honestly speaking, in my own opinion, from all indications and what is happening, I'm of the opinion that they should decentralize the security apparatus. Even the local government should have their own security, the state government should have their own, but we should have a central coordinated system, security system, whereby we keep all these things at bay and we check, so that at the end of the day, we do away with this trade. Or otherwise, there will be no meaningful development.
All right. We rely especially on the food basket for some, in terms of, the agricultural output. Are there any efforts to seriously reawaken that, especially at industrial scale, so that we begin to, what the employment you're talking about, it becomes a chain, a value chain, especially in your area. I know we've had documentaries, of course, also on the NTA, talking about the food basket and how just one state can even go a long way of almost feeding the entire nation.
Yes.
What are the efforts in this direction, and especially putting in the component, as we have taken in one of those reports, in terms of youth employment?
Well, thank you. We have improved cultivars that, if properly planted and well taken care of, it is capable of not only feeding the country, but the remains for export. But as rightly said, we must start from day one, from the foundation. Our security is porous and we're having security challenges, which is making it very difficult for us to do a lot of planting and take care of our farms for the major and main purpose of feeding the entire country and having also a lot for export. So
what are the crops of focus at this time?
Well, the crops, particularly in Benue State, you have yams that do very, very well in large tons. Have cassava, we have beneseeds, we have soya beans, guinea corn, coffee, and what have you. All these things, everywhere harnessed, giving a good atmospheric condition, believe you me, is capable of turning around the economy. So that we do emphasis on the oil sector of the economy.
Now we're looking at a situation where I don't know whether it's also in some of the areas of discussion in your terrain. We've seen that a big part of the older generation of dedicated farmers are phasing out. Are we having the new generation take over, or everybody wants to come to the city these days?
No, with the right environment and giving the right atmosphere, I believe they will take over, because it is our foundation of growth, foundation of our economy, and we're used to it, and we know it very well, and people are keen to put in their best to do their best for our country.
All right, we'll come back.
Ensure food sufficiency.
All right, we'll come back to closing lines and your thoughts, especially in terms of your own personal efforts. But let's quickly move on to two other stories before we close shop. The People's Democratic Party and the Young Progressives Party (YPP) have expressed their desire to strengthen processes that will help deliver peaceful elections in the Anambra governorship election later in the year.
Going down memory lane to 2019 general election, the PDP national chairman discloses that the party fielded candidates in all the positions: presidency, governorship, senate, and House of Representatives, and in all the 36 states' houses of assembly. Only the party since inception in 1998, he adds, has been consistent in name, motto, manifestos, and logo. For the November 6 Anambra governorship election, Uche Secondus promises the readiness of the PDP to coming out victorious in the election.
The electoral reform is a key to transparent, free and fair election that will restore confidence to the ordinary voter.
The Young Progressives Party, YPP, has also concluded the screening of its lone aspirant, the senator representing Anambra South, Ifeanyi Ubah, with the promise to deepening the presence of the party in the state.
During the senatorial election, when we were barely 1 month, we won landslidely.
Senator Ubah enjoined people of Anambra State and the Southeast to desist from acts that will throw the country into chaos.
Still talking about this Southeast, the leaders of the Southeast zone have dissociated the region from secessionist agitations in the zone. They reaffirmed their commitment to the unity of the country and condemned the destruction of critical public infrastructure in the region.
East leaders who totally denounced every secessionist movement and groups in the region maintained that leaders of the zone have been vocal about their commitment to a united Nigeria, anchored on justice, equity and fairness.
We condemn in totality the activities of violent secessionist groups in Southeast and elsewhere. We firmly proclaim that we do not support them. They do not speak for Southeast. The impression that Southeast leaders are silent over some of our youth agitation for secession is not correct. Southeast governors, Ohaneze President and her leadership, National Assembly members and her leadership from Southeast, notable leaders from Southeast, had come out publicly many times in the past, including ministers from Southeast, to speak against such agitations. In order not to mismanage the unfortunate situation we found ourselves, Southeast leaders have set up a committee to engage such youths to stop and allow the elders of Southeast to address their fears. Number 8, meeting directed our governors and Ohanes Ndibo to liaise with indigenes from northern part of Nigeria and other indigenes of other regions that are living in Southeast to come out openly and to assure their people and of course the nation Nigeria that they are very safe and well protected while living in Southeast.
In the 9-point communique read by the chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum and governor of Ebonyi State, David Umahi, the leaders condemned the killing of security agents and civilians and the burning of public infrastructure, and requested that security agents discharge their duties within the rules of engagement and the law. The leaders promised to protect everyone living in the region, irrespective of their origin, and urged leaders in other zones to do the same.
We, the Igbos, do reaffirm our commitment to one united Nigeria under a platform of justice, equality of rights, fairness, love, and respect for one another. We have noted threats by some groups in some other regions against our people of Southeast, while we firmly promise to protect everyone either from our own region or other regions living in our places. We plead with the leaders of other regions to please note the threats to our people and to please address the threats to our people and to protect them. We request our National Assembly members from Southeast to please support state police creation in the ongoing constitutional amendments.
The meeting set up committees that will hold further engagements and produce the document that will represent the decisions of the zone.
To the last line before we close shop, Honorable Rich Bande is still right here with us. In terms of, lawmaking and, to tackle the realities of the day, how would you say you are fared in terms of, representatives across the country, in terms of, creating or enacting laws that could tackle some of the issues that we've raised?
Well, thank you. See, as a parliamentarian, we must tell the path of justice, love, unity, and mutual respect for one another. We have been doing our best, and it's my clarion call on all well-meaning Nigerians and the youth to embrace the unity of purpose, as is the only sure way of bringing development and giving us the dividends of democracy that we require. Going behind closed doors to cause mayhem or chaos will not help us, and I believe we have been doing the way. It's better to follow the right path. As parliamentarians, we are doing our best to even give local government autonomy where they will be employed, and even we're also cruising on the leadership of the country, even the president, to make sure that we do the needful and the insecurity will be a thing of the past. So there's no alternative to peaceful coexistence, and we must learn how to solve our problem internally and come together. No matter how old it is, we have to focus and continue to complain, agitate, and continue to remind our leadership, that is our father, the president, that we must continue to put in our best to solve this insecurity in our own country.
Thank you very much. On the words of Honorable Richard Bande, will conclude the political update for today. Just remind you that we also plan to bring APC youths in the course of the week to tell us exactly the focus for the next 2 years and then beyond that as well. And also we have an eye on Anambra governorship polls in every party, what they are doing there. So we'll be having a correspondence in Anambra State send us reports as we go on. Of course, the continuous voters registration exercises. So my name is Fisai Ogunfi, thanking you for being a part of today's program, urging you to stay tuned to Nigerian Television Authority, where we give you the best of news, reviews, previews, and interviews. Bye-bye now.